Greetings and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be talking about some books that I want to read this month. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Yes, it is my August TBR, and we are in the middle of August. Time is a concept, okay? I'm a mood reader. You guys know this, and sometimes I struggle to set like dedicated TBRs, but alas, we are here, and I do have some books that I definitely want to read this month, so let's chat about them. There's some new releases, some book club picks, and then of course some random bits and bobs that are just catching my attention. I try to keep my TBRs relatively realistic, so my physical TBR this month is pretty small. I just have 2 books on the list. As I was looking at my stats like month by month, I am slowly reading less and less physical books. Pretty much exclusively read on my Kindle, mainly ebooks. I do read a lot of audiobooks when I'm like working or driving. Even then, I don't listen to as many audiobooks as I read ebooks because I get distracted and I'll watch like reruns of Drag Race or something instead of listening to an audiobook. But ebooks are kind of like my preferred way of reading, so I'm keeping my physical TBR pretty small this month, and I have 2 that I desperately want to get to. They're kind of like the same vibe, so I will talk about them together. I know it is technically still summertime. I want nothing to do with that. Quite literally want nothing to do with summertime. I'm so done with the heat, and I am ready for some cozy reads. I just want to snuggle with my little reading pillow and my blanket and read some cozy fantasy books. So that is what these 2 are. The first one is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I recently went to a signing, Steamy Lit Con, and Bramble had a table there, and they had this gorgeous edition. I saw Tori from A Novel Life grab this. It was like sitting in her book cart, and I was like, what is that? That is stunning. I need to have it. So just like the cover alone definitely drew me in. Love the sprayed edges, but this is described as like a cozy cottagecore fantasy vibe. Synopsis says it is a lush cottagecore tale full of stolen spellbooks, unexpected friendships, sweet jams, and even sweeter love. This seems like right up my alley. I love cozy mysteries. You guys know this. I'm also in a huge fantasy mood recently, so cozy fantasy is like the best of both worlds, and I can't wait to get to this one. Kind of like glancing at the synopsis, our main character in this book is a librarian kind of protecting magical literature. She ends up going back to her hometown, and it has a little bit of like a rom-com vibe to it, as well as it being a cozy fantasy. So very excited for this. Cannot wait to read it. Let me know if you want like a cozy fantasy blog, because another one that I want to read is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. This was a birthday gift from Christy from Christy Reads a Lot, so thank you, Christy. This is a sapphic cozy fantasy book, and that is literally all I need. Like, look at that step back. Are you joking? That's all I need. Our heroine is a guard of the queen, and our other heroine is a very powerful mage, but both of their kind of like lifelong dream is to open a very cozy tea shop. So that's kind of what they do together. Now, the second book in this series either is coming out or has just come out, and that one also looks really cozy and fantastical, so I cannot wait to read this. So the 2 books that I am most interested in reading, I really am in such a fantasy mood. In like a perfect world, if I had all of my shit together this month, I do really want to dive into the Way of Kings series by Brandon Sanderson. You guys know I have been slowly getting into Brandon Sanderson books, reading his backlist, getting more immersed into the Cosmere universe. Because the 5th book of the Stormlight Archive series does release this year, I would love to just go ahead and read and binge the entire series. But it's a very long series. Each book is like nearly 1,000 pages, so I definitely need to start now if I want to get caught up with this reread. I have started reading The Way of Kings before, but it's been a while, so I definitely need a refresher because this is such a high epic fantasy book, and I'm excited. Now, this is a thick and chunky book, and some people either love it or hate it, but I really do love Brandon Sanderson's writing. Like, everything I've read from him has been a hit for me personally. I just love his writing style, his world building, his magic systems. It all just hits perfectly for me, so I do have pretty high hopes for this series. I know a lot of people love the second book, so if I have the time, I would love to get to The Way of Kings. Okay, let's talk about some new releases this month. When it comes to new releases, I am not entirely impressed this month, if I'm being like completely honest. I feel like last month there were so many amazing releases like back to back, but this month not much has caught my attention, but a few have. So one that I desperately want to get to is Passenger Princess by Morgan Elizabeth. This was a exclusive edition that she had at StimulatCon. It's this beautiful illustrated edition, has the heroine on the front and then the hero on the back. I just think it's so pretty. I love Morgan Elizabeth's aesthetic, her covers, her books, her vibe. I love her. It came out in the beginning of August, so it is already out. I don't know too much about it other than it is a grumpy sunshine bodyguard romance, which are some of my favorite tropes, so I'm immediately intrigued just by that. Looking at the synopsis, our heroine is a pageant queen. She has just been crowned Miss Americana, and our hero is her bodyguard. So they kind of like have to go on tour together, and it follows their romance. Forced proximity, absolutely love. I like obsessively collect Morgan Elizabeth covers because I just think they're so stunning, but a lot of them have kind of just been like sitting on my shelves and I need to read them. So I did buy this beautiful edition at Stimulat and I'm putting it on my TBR to hold myself accountable to actually read it. Next one, I cannot remember if I put in my last TBR video because it did come out last month and I just like forgot it was releasing, and that is The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. Lana Ferguson is one of those authors who I find so fascinating because she writes vastly different books, but they're all so amazing. I read 2 other books by her and I absolutely loved them. I read The Fake Mate, which was a Omegaverse Grumpy Sunshine pairing. Loved, gave it 5 stars. And then I read The Nanny, which is a nanny romance, and I gave that one 4 stars. And now she recently came out with The Game Changer, which is a hockey romance series. I just think it's really cool how she's able to write all of these different tropes and genres and still do such an amazing job. So I'm definitely intrigued by this one. Christy gave it a 4-star on Goodreads, which means I'm probably gonna love it because me and Christy have very similar reading tastes. So yes, that makes it even more exciting. Looks like our heroine is a baker and our hero is a professional hockey player. She is starting her own baking show and really needs to like boost her numbers. So she ends up inviting our hero Ian onto the show to kind of get more exposure. And this is also a brother's best friend romance, which immediately sells me. I love that trope. She's just one of those authors that I really feel like I'm going to be picking up anything that she releases, and thankfully my library has the audiobook for this one. Another new release that I want to get to is You're the Problem, It's You by Emma R. Albon. This is the second book in her Mischief and Matchmaking series. First book in that series is called Don't Want You Like a Best Friend. That is a sapphic historical romance, kind of like Parent Trap vibes. I really did enjoy that one. This is the second book in that same series, and it is described as an enemies to lovers queer Victorian romance. It's a male-male romance. I believe this title is like a Taylor Swift lyric, a Taylor Swift song. I don't know too much about that, but the cover is cute. I love queer historical romances, and I was really impressed by that first book, so I definitely want to read this one. I think this comes out August 27th. That's what Goodreads says, so definitely we'll pick this up towards the end of August, hopefully. Then speaking of historical romances, so those were all of like the new releases that I want to get to, kind of kept that list short. Of course, I have my historical romance book club. If you didn't know, I host a historical romance book club called the Historical Hellions. I host it with Jessica from Peace Love Books and Christy from Christy Reads a Lot. Every month we read a historical published before the year 2000, and we kind of like alternate our channels and our live shows. And for the month of August, we're going to be reading Deception by Amanda Quick. Amanda Quick is a historical romance author that I love. Her books almost feel like adventure romances. Her heroines tend to have a lot of agency. Her plots are pretty fast-paced, and I just really enjoy everything I've read by her so far. Ravished is one of my favorite historical romances, so I'm very excited to read Deception. I don't know too much about the plot. I guess we'll read it together and find out. But yeah, that is pretty much all of the books that I want to get to in August. A pretty short TBR. I have some cozy fantasies, some new releases, and some historicals that I want to get to this month. Let me know what you guys plan on reading this month, and if there are any new releases that I missed and you think I should check out, let me know. And if you have stayed this long in the video and you enjoyed it, let's leave an emoji as always. Let's do some pink bows for Passenger Princess by Morgan Elizabeth. So leave some pink bows in the comments down below if you stayed this long, so I know that we're bookish besties. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!